Hello, cyclocross fans, and welcome back to btb-tv presents this week the Mud Fun Derby City Cup here in Louisville, Kentucky. I am your host, Colt McElwain, joined this week by the very lovely Kelly Minks Reardon. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, it's great to be here. I love being back in Louisville. Haven't been here since February.
I haven't been here since the sun was shining, since it wasn't underwater. If you guys followed the World Championships last year, this was a totally different course, a totally different venue, a different vibe. It's a little bit of like we're coming down. I mean, after being here with, 20, 30, 40,000 people, it's kind of nice to just get the course back, be able to walk around, see things, but nonetheless, this is going to be a very great weekend. The course, I mean, this whole thing is a world caliber event.
World caliber event, world caliber course.
World caliber field. We got top riders in attendance. We got a C1 today on Saturday, a C2 tomorrow. Let's break it down. Let's see who we got on the start line. First up this weekend is your elite women's race in a great field here in attendance. Katarina Nash, who took 2 wins last weekend of the 3, will not be here, but Katie Compton, she is here, and she will be looking for that top step both days. Now, behind her, fighting for those other steps on the podium, I'm looking at Meredith Miller, who rides well on this course. Elle Anderson coming back into some great form, as is Katie Anthony, the little badger from Wisconsin.
I will have my eye on Crystal Anthony, who took a win out at the Cycle Smart International. I'll also be watching Amanda Miller coming off a win at the Gateway Cross Cup. It'll be interesting to see how they do in such a stacked field.
Yeah, some strong women here. The men's race going to be just as exciting. I am more excited about this men's field than I have been in a long time. We say every weekend there's 5 guys that could win the race, but realistically, you have a pretty good idea of what order those 5 will be. After what we saw last weekend, the last couple of weekends, it's completely up in the air. We got Tim Johnson on the form of his life right now. We got Ryan Trebone, who just took a win. We got Jeremy Powers, who it's a little bit of uncertainty, hasn't won a race now in a few weeks. And you got guys like Ben Baird and Zach McDonald. Who are you excited to see today?
I'm really excited to see Logan Owen. He's coming back from Europe, some top 20s in the World Cups, and I'm sad that we're missing Jamie Driscoll.
That's true. The only rider here maybe that's not in the top 5 in terms of UCI ranking, Jamie Driscoll, out, I don't know, maybe they got some good snow out in Utah or something, but Logan Owen, I like that. Coming off some top 20-ish rides over there in the World Cup, making his season debut just a couple of weeks ago in Boulder in the elite ranks. He could be good today. They will all be good today, the women, the men, the racing. Coming right up, let's get right to the action. Up next on BTB TV, we've got your Cliff Bar Cliff Shot course preview from the Mud Fun Derby City Cup and your elite women. Day number 1 on the start line, coming up right after this. What's up, guys? We are back with your Cliff Shot course preview this week on a very special venue here in Louisville, Kentucky. This course designed for the 2013 UCI Elite World Championships, so you know it's good. We got good stairs, we got good sand, run-ups, everything you could ever hope for right here. Going to make for a very exciting race this afternoon. Let's go take a look. Making their way off that start-finishing chute, riders going to take a number of high-speed grass straightaways, a couple quick U-turns, and then they make their way right here behind me, the Louisville Green Monster, maybe the most famous flyover in all of North American cyclocross. This thing is huge, this thing is solid, but more importantly, these steps behind me on this side are freaking enormous, well above the knee for most riders. Look for guys like Trebone to make easy work of this. Look for the smaller riders, especially on that first lap, to just be slamming into this thing and really struggling to get over. Making their way off the Green Monster flyover, riders take a couple turns on the backside, hit a small section of barriers, and then make their way into this gem of a sand pit. This thing designed for the World Championships back in February, and it is as good as it gets. This thing, not only deep churned up sand, not only the whoops within it that make you go up and down, but this thing is long. If you can't ride it, if you have to dismount at the beginning, you're gonna be on foot for 70, 80, maybe 100 meters. Could be a great area to get some separation if you've got those sand skills. Coming into this, the last and most treacherous feature on course, the rock run-up. Although in the elite men's race, this could turn into the rock ride-up. As you see, very technical steps here, but there is a line up the right side here, very tight across the tape. Look for powers. Guys like Adam Craig to ride this section. Just a couple more turns here. You're less than 20 seconds from that finishing stretch. This could be the deciding factor. Katie Compton, we are back in Louisville, Kentucky. Last time we were here under a little different circumstances. It's got to feel good to be back and in some sunny weather.
It feels great to be back. Prayer on the course has been really fun. It's a little more flowy than Worlds. It's fast. It's going to be a hard day. Fast day.
You know, last weekend it was great battles between you and Katarina. Katarina not here. What's your expectations for this weekend?
I want to go hard. I need to get some good training, some good efforts in before Kolksider next week or a couple weeks. Not having Katarina here kind of sucks. I like chasing and working hard and racing every weekend. So that's unfortunate, but there's still some good, strong girls here, and it's gonna be a good race, and she's gonna make it hard.
We return to Ava Bandman Park, site of the 2013 UCI Road Cyclocross World Championships, and we bring a world-class field. How about Amanda Miller coming off the road? Crystal Anthony, fresh from fantastic results in Northampton. Then it is Miller and Elle Anderson, but of course, all eyes on Katie Compton here. They are off to a clean start. Richard Fries with the Louisville skyline. Colt McElwain joining us with the call.
Looks like we got Nicole Duke there, very quick into the pedals, going to take your whole shot. Although as we come here into lap number 1, over the Green Monster. Richard, not the Green Monster we're used to up here in Boston, but the Green Monster of cyclocross in Compton. Off to a very strong start, followed by Elle Anderson.
Yeah, a great cyclocross community here along the Ohio River. They're coming off of, this is really their Holy Week with Cincinnati 1 week prior. Up the stairs they go. Whole different feel, whole different sense of lighting. Look at the beautiful foliage they're racing, short sleeves right now. And now Crystal Anthony coming back into this race. Not a great start for her. This sand pit, we talked about it at the World Championships. It was frozen and packed down. It is a very tough obstacle now.
This sand pit here, as we go through it, the hard thing about this sand pit, it's not only that it's deep, it's not only that it's long, but it's the whoops within it as they go up and down, up and down. Katie Compton, a master of technique, a master on the sand here as she rides away, dismounts now into these stone steps. Some of the most beautiful features in all of North American cyclocross here on this course. So much time and effort went into designing this thing to prepare for those World Championships. These riders taking advantage of it on a beautiful day here this afternoon.
Indeed, you can see Elle Anderson having a very good start. Talk about a great start. She's had a great start to the season. Couple of bobbles. She didn't have a very good Colorado, but now she's coming back to prove that she really is the real deal. Being chased right now. This is Elle Anderson. You're going to see another red jersey soon. Meredith Miller is her teammate, but she is right now, I think she's riding well here, composed, but look at the speed of Crystal Anthony. I think it's really good that Anthony stayed home, stayed in her own bed, and was able to get a very confident building experience out of Northampton. This is Anderson. Miller now has gone back into the front of Anthony into this sand pit. Look at, you can see Miller struggling in this sand.
Miller, a bit of a bobble there. Crystal Anthony looking very strong. Richard, here they go, all coming together. We have your two Cal Giant riders and that orange helmet sandwiched right in the middle. Crystal Anthony coming off a win last Saturday at the Cycle Smart International back in New England. At the front of this race, though, I see stars, I see stripes, I see Katie Compton all by herself. No Katarina Nash here. She is in her own zone right now, pushing it, training hard, trying to get those hard efforts in ahead of the World Cup. But this race for second, it's on right now, 1 to go.
Yeah, oh, and there's a bobble right there. Another bobble by Miller. Now she's dabbing, she's kicking it there, and now she's screwed up her own teammate. Now look at this. This is all about the rear wheel, and Crystal Anthony's just in drive mode.
Unbelievable. Anthony, she couldn't have planned that any better. That's why it's so important to come first wheel into those obstacles. You never know who's going to make a mistake. Behind you, Miller here looked to be the stronger rider in the group. Now she's got a chase on her hands. Katie Compton, though, she is clean. She has no one in front of her. She's going to see the finishing line here, Richard, and she's going to take a very strong win today in the UCI C1. Triple points on the line, big money on the line, and Katie Compton will be the first rider across the line doing it here in Louisville, Kentucky.
Nicely done, and she is over. Nicely done there. She's coming onto the pavement. We wait to see who emerges. It is two orange helmets there. This is actually a back marker. That's going to be Crystal Anthony. Anthony coming through. Sensational ride for her up against the best talent. And really, Colt, I think this race is a big question mark. Of course, Compton, the dominant American, but look at how many different women are going onto the podium in those second, third, fourth, and fifth spots.
Yeah, the diversity within that field has been just awesome to watch this year, making for some super exciting racing. Meredith Miller going to round out your podium in third. Her teammate, Elle Anderson, going to fall back, finish the day in still a strong fourth place.
Meredith Miller. Hi.
Hi.
Third place.
Yeah.
How's it feeling?
A little disappointing, actually. I have to admit it. I was fighting with Crystal for second place in the last couple laps and twice come into the sand pits. I followed her wheel and with a little too much speed and ended up running into the back of her, and I came to a complete standstill, and she was able to get out of the sand ahead of me, and that's where the gap opened up, and she was riding strong today, and so I couldn't close the gap.
Crystal Anthony, coming off some really strong rides. Day one Louisville, how you feeling?
Feeling pretty good today. Had a good start initially, and that was great, and then tried to settle in. I kind of messed up in the first sand pit and lost a few spots, but just kept fighting after that, and I love this kind of course with a lot of hard features, technical stuff, like a real variety, so it was really fun out there.
Katie Compton, wonderful ride out there today, all by your lonesome. Just how you like it out front. How was it?
Today was really fast. It was a fun course. It was just fast and flowy, and I think it's easier to keep the pressure on than it is to kind of slow down and mess up my timing, so I just try to stay on it today.
So much energy went into this course just a few months ago for the World Championships. Totally different conditions today, totally different field, but were there any memories of Louisville 2013 in your head there while you were out today?
Actually, none at all. Kind of put that one behind me, and just another day, another race. Different course, so that helps. I actually think this course is a little more fun, just flowy. Maybe just it's not winter. But I enjoyed it and just love coming to Louisville.
She's done. Katie Compton wins here.
Up next on BTB TV, the man behind the Mud Fund, we sit down with Tim Johnson in your elite men's race day number 1 here in Kentucky, coming up right after the break. We're here with Tim Johnson at the Louisville Mud-Fund-Derby-City-Cup. Tim, tell me, what is the Mud Fund? People know the name, they know your involvement, but what is it really?
The Mud Fund is a fund for junior and under 23 cyclists to help them stay in the sport, basically.
So it's clearly it's something you put a lot of effort into, and there's a lot of causes out there in bike racing that you could get behind. Why juniors and U23s, and why this fund specifically?
Cross was really the bridge that kept me in the sport in my career. I was a mountain biker. I turned into a road racer eventually, but being able to race cyclocross as I was in my 19, 20, 21, in and out of college, it just became that sport that was easy for me to stay into. And knowing how expensive it is in travel and equipment, it's important to help have just a little bit extra to give young riders a chance and a reason to stay in it.
And there's a lot of clubs out there, a lot of teams. How do you help support those organizations that are already out there doing so much for the kids?
Well, I'd consider it more of a community. What we're trying to do is just that it's a need-based scholarship grant. So kids apply through the mudfund.org, and they'll answer a few questions. Where are you going to use the money? What is the reason why you're in the sport? And then so from that, we have a committee of people that look at those applications and say, okay, well, you know what, this kid, it's great. Maybe doesn't get a lot of chances to race, or she's new into college, and you know how expensive it is when you're in school. Here's a chance to help them out just a little bit financially. But
can you share a particular story of maybe an athlete and how the Mud Fund helped them, and something like a success story maybe?
Yeah, last year we had just over 20 applicants, and one of our applicants, actually Josh Johnson, represented the U.S. in the Worlds last year here in Louisville. So it's not as if the Mud Fund scholarship is the one thing that got him there, but it's just a little bit extra to help. And he's been really great because he says, he comes up and says thank you, and very appreciative of what that means. And as we develop, we're getting more and more funding, and the scholarship grants get bigger and bigger. I think it's going to be something that really does mean a lot, and to be a part of it is something really special. I encourage anyone to apply who thinks that this is their sport, they really like it. They may not get a chance to do it as often as they can, but for me, I had a best friend who was better than me. He was a faster racer than me. He was on a bigger team. He had a mechanic. He stayed in condos, and I was camping, and I was working on my own bike. And we're actually looking for those friends of the fastest kids, and the kids that look up to them and say, hey, I really like what they're doing. I love to try and go as fast as they can, and I really like the sport.
Cool. Well, if you guys want to check out more, we have links down below this video. Thanks, Tim.
Thanks, Will.
Ryan Trabone. Hey, day one, Louisville. How you feeling? What are you thinking?
Feeling pretty good. Day's kind of going slow so far. Ready to start racing. Actually, we're just kind of been hanging out. The course is pretty identical to yesterday, which is really nice. And I don't know. I feel good. I'm hoping hoping to have a better weekend than a couple of days last weekend. So we'll see.
Jeremy Powers, Saturday here in Louisville. Everyone knows last weekend wasn't exactly what you were looking for. Tell me about the week coming in, how you refocused, if you're ready to go.
Yeah, it was a good week at home. Did a good workout on Wednesday. Felt a lot better, and yeah, more recovered. This is a hard track today. A lot of sand, and definitely going to be strongest man wins, I think, out there today.
Anything but a win going to make you happy today?
Yeah, I think strongest guy winning. I hope that I am able to be in the front and able to make the selections and able to actually turn it up again. And I don't know how to answer that question, but I think I'll be happy with whatever comes.
Day one in Louisville. Danny Summerhill returning to the front row, but all eyes are on the Fab Four. Johnson, Powers, Trebone, and Burden. Over on the right is Zach McDonald. Summerhill is on the front row. Looks like Sean Milne earns a spot on the far left, coming off a very good win in Northampton, and they are off. McDonald, a good hole shot. Powers is there as too. Richard Freeze with Colt McElwain on the call.
Looks like Ryan Trebone here going to lead him around this corner, coming off the home stretch on lap number 1 as we head out onto course. Look at that, Richard, the red jersey, the Cal Giant rider. That is Tobin Ordenbland, a UCI winner last year for the first time. This guy is on some serious confidence right now, going to the front of this very large group here, looking like a road peloton on lap number 1.
And he's still light in there. Look at this, all splayed all over the course right there. Summerhill looking like he's in a Criterion. Big group, and they're coming in. Krugoff coming into the back door. All tangled up in there. Good start by Jeremy Duran in there as well. Over the barriers. Look at the numbers in here. This is more than a dozen riders, all in contention for the win still. And now they go to the stairs. What is interesting is that Powers is allowing himself to be gapped.
Powers, look at this. Oh my God.
Oh!
1, 2, 5 hops this time as Powers rides that stair section. He practiced that so many times, Richard, in preparation for those World Championships back in February. Of course, he got there. The whole course was muddy. He didn't have the chance to do it. He rolled up today, wanted to give himself a chance there to practice it at race speeds. And now look at this, 4 riders riding away. But to know he has that card in his back pocket, he can throw that down at any time.
And Burden's looking back going, I'm used to there being 4 guys. The 4th is Logan Owen, first-year senior. Looks like Krugoff coming up, bringing some cavalry and some reserves for Raleigh Clement. Very good rider for that man. Krugoff out of Boulder, Colorado, a solid lieutenant, still young, 26 years old. He may be able to become a lead contender in this sport. Always easy to tell Logan Owen with that style of riding.
Powers is committed right now off the front, coming back now. Looks like Trebone and Barron able to bring him back. Well, he did go for it, but it is Logan Owen looking very strong there. Took a couple of weeks off from domestic racing, went over to Europe, had some top 20 rides in the U23 World Cup, and he is back now with some very strong form. But Richard Powers, he is hungry today. Went 3 days in Cincinnati with no victories. He is in it to win it here on the C1 day in Louisville.
Look how good all of these guys are in the sand. This is something that is just decimating, the amateur categories. This sandbox. Here is Logan Owen, still getting his chops a little bit. You can see the legs just aren't quite where they are. Back there, you could just see Johnson coming up. We are looking at 3 to go. Now, Powers going up to the front right now. Let's see if he can do it right now. He does indeed. He is able to ride them just as Sven Nice was able to do. Now we can see Trebone. He's forced to run. Burden right there as well. Further back, Logan Owen starting to take on water. Now the question is, where is the other member of the Fab Four? Johnson is coming. Johnson's coming.
Coming through now, Tim Johnson there in the Red Bull helmet. He's got he's got Alan Krugoff there in tow. Johnson actually caught up in a bit of a crash earlier on in the day, put him and Summerhill back, but Johnson with some great legs. We saw it last weekend, taking 2 wins. He's on some form right now. He's going to be working his way back up to that lead group. He's got, looks like, he is coming right up on the heels of Logan Owen.
That core power, that is what is so famous for Johnson. When we look at this season, every weekend's been a different rider coming on, but Johnson making some mistakes today. Now it is Powers trying to get back onto the throne. That last year at this time, he had won everything, Colt Mack. Oh, now, this is a back marker. This is a rider that seems to, this is like literally a lame duck in the sand right there. Oh, Powers now in traffic. He goes through, and now forced to dismount.
Loses the wheel there. He gets off. Luckily, he's the first guy there. Everyone having to get off behind him, but he is not happy about that. He is in the zone right now. He is a madman on the bike. A great guy off the bike, but you do not want to get between Jeremy Powers and winning a bike race, especially here in Louisville, especially with the C1 points, the C1 money on the line. He needs this for himself. One thing you'll notice here, Richard, look at that on the back of Tim Johnson. The number 1 bib is no longer with Jeremy Powers. Those UCI points have reshuffled, and it is Johnson, the top-ranked American rider in the standings. Jeremy knows that. He had to show up today and get that number 2 bib. That number 2 bib. He does not want that anymore. He needs the points here on the line today. He's going to do it again, Richard.
He rides it again. Now we can see. Now Burns in trouble. Burns taking on a little water at the back of this. Now Powers has made it a 2-rider fight right now. Trebone, very strong, very lean, a lot of wattage coming out of Trebone. Every one of these men has won races so far. Now it is down to 2 and on to the, a bobble by Powers there, and Bird might get back in.
Slides out. That was his card to play here. 1 lap to go. Powers knew he could ride that stair section. Looks like he just gets a little loose there, and he gives Trebone that chance to take the advantage. This course so fast, so high speed, letting the Trebone monster put out all the power that he can. Powers just doing everything he can to sit in that slipstream. Richard, we're coming onto the pavement.
And this is going to be Trebone. No better hammer than anybody like him. He is up on the front just using a big long lever, and there he is on the legs, turning out big watts all the way to the line. A huge Category 1 win for Ryan Trebone.
Ryan Trebone in the air attack helmet. He was on the tops, on the hoods there. Didn't even have to get down low, but 2,000 watts there coming down the start finishing stretch. Jeremy Powers looks content maybe. He's got the legs. He was right there. He'll hold on for second place. Meanwhile, Ben Baird and bib number 4 there for Raleigh Clement going to hold on to third place on the box.
Logan Owen, Louisville, day 1. Hell of a ride. How you feeling?
I'm pretty tired. Starting third row, I was hoping for another top 10, like I did in Boulder. I didn't think I could get a top 5 though. I mean, I was hoping for a podium. I mean, that's just shooting high, but I mean, to get top 5 here in Louisville, the course that I got 4th on at Junior Road Worlds or Cross Worlds. I mean, I love this course, and it's great to have a good ride on it.
Jeremy Powers, again, one of the most exciting races of the year. Unfortunately for you, you keep ending up on not the top step here, but it's got to feel good to be racing like that.
Yeah, today was definitely a fast race, and I think for the spectators, it was definitely fun to watch, you know, and in the key moment of the race in the last lap, you know, me and Ryan switched, I think, 4 times in the lead, and, you know, I knew that coming into the sand pit was going to be really key, and he beat me there. He got in front of me. I tried to fight him for it, and then, you know, I tried to play gentleman. I didn't chop him, and he didn't chop me, and he legitimately rode a super smart race. I did not expect him to come around me the last time when he did right at the final, and then yeah, he sat up a little bit right before we came onto the pavement, and just he totally Mark McCormick to me. He sharked me bad, man. I knew it was coming, but I didn't know it was coming like that. And yeah, hats off to him. He rode a very good race today.
Ryan Trebone, your winner today. That's easily the best ride you've had all year, at least results-wise. How'd it feel, man?
It felt pretty good. You know, I had to come back 2 times. I messed up in the sand once, and then actually twice, and then I got 10 seconds, and there was 2 gaps I had to bridge, and it was hard. And you know, I wasn't super confident going in that last lap. I knew I wanted to try and get to the long sand pit first, and I was planning on just nailing it as fast as I could, and I just kind of messed up and didn't really have the legs, and so I had to wait for Jeremy. He passed me before one of the downhills before the stairs, and then we went up the stairs next to each other, and I just kind of sprinted down that last one, and this race is kind of a race to the last corner, essentially. You know, the sprint's long, and I'm surprised Jeremy didn't have enough to come around, but I'm pumped. I've never won on this course, you know. This is every year we've raced here, and I've always been second or third, and I crashed myself out, you know, so it's really nice to win today. I'm excited.
Up next on BTB TV, we take a look at your junior races, the Elite Men's 17-18 World Championship qualifier events, as well as your Day 2 women's race. Katie Compton and the rest coming up right after this. Before your elite riders took to the course this weekend, it was your elite juniors in attendance. The elite men 17 and 18 years old were here in Louisville, Kentucky as part of the World Championship qualification series. The first rider in that series earning an automatic bid to the World Championships, and we had riders from across the nation. The Northeast, the Mid-Atlantic, obviously the Midwest being well represented, as well as California, Colorado, and the Northwest. At the end of 2 days of racing, however, it was New England coming out on top. Young riders Austin Vincent, Cooper Wisely, Ian McShane from the Midwest, and Peter Gogan riding for the Race CF program out of Massachusetts, all having fantastic rides. These junior riders going to continue their season. We will see them at national championships in Boulder. Take a look out. Keep an eye on this field. This is the future of American cyclocross.
Katie Angino, 8th yesterday. How you feeling about your chances today?
I'm feeling better today. I like the course, and I think it'll be a good race.
Excellent. Minor changes in the course. Anything you think is going to be to your advantage?
Yeah, the sand is a little easier, and there's some flowy sections in the back there that I really like, so I think it'll be fun.
Elle Anderson, strong ride yesterday, but you faded to 4th. How are you feeling about your chances today?
I'm feeling pretty good. I'm excited for today. You know, yesterday was great, but my legs didn't feel awesome, and today is a new day, and I'm pretty excited, especially for the sand pit today.
That's great. There are some minor changes to the course. Anything that you think is going to be to your advantage?
You know, it's really, I don't think it's different enough. It's pretty much the same, except a few places where it's either straighter or more turny, so I think it's all a wash in the end.
Welcome back to the start line here in Louisville, Kentucky, your elite women. Day number 2 here for the UCI C2 event. You see Caroline Monty here, Crystal Anthony coming up in the orange helmet, Katie Compton on the start line there with Nicole Duke, Elle Anderson looking for a strong ride today after her 4th place, Amanda Miller and the rest. Richard Fries here in the studio. Richard, we are underway.
Unbelievable autumn light for these women to compete in today. You'll notice no gloves on for a lot of them. It's still very, very temperate conditions. Good to see Erica Zavetta coming off that second row for Redline. She had some injuries. She's coming back to the front early. It's going to be Meredith Miller. A very good start for her. And now we can see no sign of Compton near the front. Really, now we just see her coming, trying to kick in the back door a little bit. But they've got her in a good spot today, Colt.
5th or 6th wheel there for Compton coming off the pavement. A very bad start for your national champion. She struggled a little bit with her starts in the past. Obviously no trouble here getting through the field to the front of that pack, but something she's going to have to focus and work on when it comes to the World Cup level. Elle Anderson also struggling a little bit off the line today. She finds herself along with Meredith Miller and Crystal Anthony. Looks like some other riders today. Amanda Miller having a great start. Oh, you see there Miller looks like she had a little bit of a bobble there. Her teammate Elle Anderson going to come through inside the top 10.
And she was a little awkward there coming off the opposite side from where she normally does her dismounts. Must have had some type of a problem there. Now we can see Amanda Miller. The jury's still out on her. Very good at the Gateway Cross Cup. She had a very good ride there, but that was not up against this caliber of a field. She's out there throwing punches way above her weight right now.
Caroline Monty having a good solid ride this weekend after her awful crash last weekend in Cincinnati. The one rider not quite riding with the same level is Katie Anthony, who had such a strong weekend, was on the podium in Cincinnati, struggled yesterday back in 8th place. Look for her to try and mix it up today, but Compton very early on here, she is riding away with this, chasing the ghost of Marianne Vos, preparing herself for those World Cup races that are so fast. She is not waiting for anybody today. Finally, Richard, we have those Cal Giant riders coming through.
Yeah, and there they are. They've been really pairing up to be a very strong, just a force to be reckoned with in 2nd and 3rd, and now they seem to have gotten back into control of the podium. But you're right about Katie Compton. You know, started really late in the season from what she normally would do. It didn't even start until the first weekend in October. But I think that's going to play into her favor as the season goes on. Of course, Marianne Vos coming off of some surgery for her back. Let's see how she goes. Always going to be good, you know that. But look at this. Great battles for the top 10. Big points on the line again today.
Elle Anderson looking more and more comfortable every week here on the bike in these technical cyclocross-specific conditions, mastering the sand there on a course here in Louisville that she hadn't seen until yesterday. A lot of these riders rode here for the World Championships back in the USGP, but Meredith Miller now showing her how it's done, getting very strong in the sand. We saw that bobble yesterday, Richard. Looks like Miller's figured out this sand pit.
Yeah, and I think both of them really struggle in the sand. They both seem, we saw them struggle the day before. Here's Crystal Anthony, brilliant yesterday. She called it one of the best rides of her career. Now we see Elle Anderson, the power of Anderson, really special. But both of them, I think they need to work on their bike handling, especially in these cambers and the sand, some of the difficult stuff. They're about to come up and get the 1 lap to go, and right there you see it.
Miller goes down. That's a huge flaw right there. Miller going down. We got 1 lap to go. That will let the gap open up. Very little time left in this race. We got Crystal Anthony now charging. We've seen since yesterday a very strong second half of the race for the Optum Kelly Benefits rider. She's going to be charging now. Miller back on her bike at the top of the course, but she's now worried less about contending with her teammate, worried maybe a little more about what's coming over her shoulder.
Yeah, now Anderson just goes into the engine room and she's able to roll clear. We're going to see her right now on the wooden steps. There's 2 sets of stairs here, actually 3 if you count the flyover, and Anderson is up and over the wooden stairs. Very composed right there. Now this was such a treacherous descent in the snow at the World Championships. What a difference, 8, 9, 10 months make.
Compton definitely a little bit out for revenge here as she does it again today. Those World Championships didn't go exactly how she'd hoped. No rainbow jersey for the American rider, but this weekend, a win on Saturday, a win here on Sunday. Coming up to the pavement, though, back on the second step of the podium will be that Cal Giant Specialized rider for the Strava employee from San Francisco, California, Elle Anderson, bringing it home.
Well, she's really proving herself world-worthy here. We're going to round out the podiums to Elle Anderson. And when you look at how well the Americans did in the World Cup so far, I think Elle Anderson is world-class. Now we got a little fight to the line, but it looks like Meredith Miller going to be able to fend off Crystal Anthony by staying in the saddle. So what a great podium for Cal Giant again here at Ava Bandman Park.
A strong ride for Cal Giant, a very strong weekend for Crystal Anthony, putting her stamp, putting her name in the hat as one of the top riders on the national scene. Elle, much better ride this afternoon. You had the same sort of start, but then you held it all the way to the finish. What was the difference?
Oh, I have no idea what the difference was, but I definitely felt a little bit better today, and I just had a lot of fun out there. And the last couple races, I can't say I've had as much fun, so it was just a fun day for me.
Tell me about where you go from here after this weekend.
Well, I'm going to go back to San Francisco tomorrow evening and head into the Strava office for the week, and I'll be back for Iowa City.
Meredith Miller, another podium finish today.
Yeah.
How you feeling?
Pretty good. 2 third places, wish I could have substituted a second place for one of them, but, pretty happy to have a double weekend on the podium. That hasn't happened, I don't think, yet this year, so yeah, I'll walk away and be happy with that.
Katie Compton, another dominating performance here in Louisville. Is that what you were looking for?
Yeah, I actually felt better today than yesterday, so I just, and the course is so fast, it's hard not to ride some of the sections just like full gas, and then I tried to recover on some of the flatter, straighter sections, but it was good, it was fun.
I mean, we talk about a lot of different races when you're off the front like that solo, and yet you still have goals out there. You're still working on things. You still have things in mind. What are you doing when you're off the front like that and you're not as worried about riders coming from behind?
What I'm trying to work on the technical skills and sprint out of the turns and just work on sections that I might be struggling with. And then just making sure I don't get overconfident because anything can happen. So I just try to push it where I can, kind of recover and just keep it smooth and not make any mistakes.
Up next on BTB TV, Cody Kaiser from the Cal Giant Specialized team shows us his weapon of choice. And day 2, your elite men, Ryan Trebone, Jeremy Powers, Tim Johnson, going head-to-head right after this.
I'm Cody Kaiser from California Giant Specialized, and I'm here to introduce to you my new 2014 Specialized Crux. So this year we've got all brand new hydraulic 22, entire red 22 package with hydraulic disc brakes, and it's a super nimble group set. It's amazing what the hydraulics will do to the bike and how nimble it makes the bike ride. And then out back we've got an 11-speed cassette now, and so we have every gear necessary to accomplish what we need. We run a compact drive on the crankset with a 46-36 chain rings, and then our cassette is an 11-28. And like I said, it gives us every gear we need, from flat out on the road drag stretches to really high gear for me to be able to ride the limestone steps out here. It's the best group on the market right now. So this year we're riding the new 303 disc. It's a new all-disc package from Zip that's available to consumers now. Super stable rim. The wheel is bulletproof. It's ultimate cross setup that we need. And tires, we have an arsenal of a bunch of Dugas tires and Specialized as well. Right now on my bike I've got the Typhoon. And we can run Rhinos, Small Birds, the Specialized Tracer, and Trigger tires. So it's a really nice package that we've got where we can choose from a whole quiver of setups. So on my bikes, it's a little particular. To me, I run my handlebars quite a bit higher than most of the guys on the team, and I run my hoods even higher than most people across. Usually you see guys riding a more upright position, but I've definitely taken it to the extreme. I like the way it makes the bike ride and handle. That's something I always like to fine-tune myself and make sure that I get the bike riding the way I want it to. So that's it for my 2014 S-Works Crux, and we'll see you at the races.
Mitch Hoke, the Optum Kelly Benefits Strategy Pro Cyclocross team. You had an all right ride yesterday, but you're just saying off camera you're looking for a little more today.
Yeah, hoping for a little bit more. Slipped out of a pretty strong group I thought I was riding in yesterday, and yeah, ended up 21st behind Tobin, who also was suffering a little bit. So yeah, hoping for better.
How do you make the change at a course like this? It seemed like it was so fast yesterday, and it was really about making that group. Do you do something differently at the start, or how do you ensure that you get up there?
Well, I did get up there right at the start, and then just kind of took a stupid line through one of the turns and wasn't paying attention, putting my head down, trying to go all hard, and realized that I was going to hit a fence or have to stop, so I just slammed on the brakes and stopped and ejected myself out of the group. So just, when it's so fast like this, it's the little mistakes that add up big time. So hopefully, don't make those little mistakes at key times, and then it'll be all good.
Ben Baird in third place yesterday, coming back today. You feel good about your chances?
Oh, I felt really bad yesterday with the pre-riding and everything, and I had a really bad first lap. Today I did a few laps and I felt much better than yesterday, so hopefully the result's going to be better.
It seemed like yesterday Ryan and Jeremy they didn't quite have an attack that dropped you. It seemed like they slowly distanced you. Is there something you can do differently today to try and ride those wheels all the way to the finish?
I put a lot of energy in to try to get them. That didn't work out, and then they tried to get me. And the last 1.5 to go, they were a little bit faster than me, so no answer to that. So.
Your last race of the weekend here, day number 2, Sunday in Louisville. Your elite men on the start line: Jeremy Powers, Zach McDonald, Ryan Trebone, the tall rider there in the Aero helmet, Yannick Ekman, Ben Baird, and Tim Johnson on the start line here. Your elite men are ready. They are crouched, and they are underway. I'm Cole McElwain here for the final race of the weekend. Richard Freeze,
really
take us down.
Great start by Sean Milne over on the far. There's Milne coming through. He gets the whole shot. Great criterium racer, turning into a pretty solid cross racer. Earned his way all the way up to the front row with a win last week in Northampton. Now Summerhill up there. A lot of new faces poking into these early ranks here. It looks like a termite mound early on. Good start by Duran.
A great start by Duran. A lot of these riders on day 2, there's that difference between the C1 and the C2. Guys like Johnson, Powers, Baird, and they're putting all their eggs in the basket for Saturday. Whereas you have these guys like Duran, they don't care. They're just trying to get UCI points no matter how they do it. So you see a little bit of riders. Oh, looks like Milne there. Dismount's got a great start, but and then behind him, New England just falling all over this sandpit right now. Duran, though, looks like he gets back up and running very quickly. But Richard, 10, looks like maybe 20 riders here all strung out through the sand.
Yeah, this is like a golf tournament where everybody's hitting bogeys all of a sudden, and now they are all coming back in, all of these through these double barriers right there, and they are all in contention to win, so they are racing accordingly very fast through the barrier. And look at Cody the Kangaroo Kaiser. He goes through there just passing riders in the air.
Looked like he was going to jump both of them at the same time, just flying through 20 miles an hour through those very fast, very high barriers. But this group now looks like we're starting to get a little bit of separation. I see Summerhill up there. He's going to want to do something today after that crash being caught behind Tim Johnson yesterday. Richard, these stairs so steep above the knee here, very hard to get over.
Yeah, you can see the camera vibrating there. A couple of dabs here. This is a very interesting turn right here. You can see how good these riders are. Justin Lindeen, good start today. The man in blue that we're starting to see is Adam Craig coming up near the front, and I believe you were telling me he lined up dead last.
Dead last all the way now, coming to the front of this group. Adam Craig, just a freak of nature physically. This guy coming off, didn't race a mountain bike season in cross country, was doing enduro stuff, was doing downhill stuff. He wasn't doing those kind of intervals. Meanwhile, back in the pack, it's Jeremy Powers. Richard, we've seen him do this, especially Boulder Day 2, where he sits back and comes on later, but this looks like he's just checked out here. He does not seem to be in the race.
Yeah, lucky 13. That's going to be Adam Craig coming through right there. Now we're looking for Powers. Now that's the leaders go through, and look at the gap back. There's no sign of Powers. This is Johnson. He's not where he needs to be. You wonder about these guys. You can't get away racing like this in Europe, certainly. And then further back, it's not Powers, that's McDonald. And I believe McDonald is doing the teamsmanship thing, and that's Yannick Ekman on the wheel of the 2 Rafa Focus rider. Further back is going to be Alan Krugoff.
Now, great shot here as we start to see that separation. Man, Adam Craig is impressing, but look at this now. Jeremy Powers has decided it is time to go. He bridges across to Johnson. He comes right through, and now look at this. We are all together. 6 riders here off the front. Powers sitting comfortably there on the final wheel, but Trebone, he's got the confidence of a UCI C1 winner. He knows he has the horsepower. He knows this is his course, and he's going for it today.
And now Powers goes up into the front of affairs. Now, this is interesting. Powers has been doing this a lot this season, especially on the day 2. As you can see him moving to the back and casually staying out of that rugby scrum that characterizes the early parts of a big-time cross race. How about Adam Craig, though? He's been racing enduro. He's been in the baggy shorts all season. I don't think I've seen him in Lycra for several months.
We saw him at Starcross, feels like a year ago, just 2 months ago at the beginning of the season. His teammate, Carl Decker, been having some great cross races as well as we come up over this run-up now. It is Powers on the front. He tried so hard yesterday. He came so close, within just a few feet of tasting victory. He's going to be going after it today. Now you see him coming through the sand here. He knows he has to get away from Trebone. He can't drag Ryan onto the pavement, or it could be a repeat from yesterday.
Now we can see Powers. Look at Trebone now moving around. He had to go around. Now Summerhill trying to get in contention as well. It's all about the back wheel. These guys are so good in here. They never let the front wheel do the talking. They drive it with the back wheel. Beautifully done. Now it's going to be Powers. Burden checks off over to the right. Now they come into this section that was oh so slippery at the World Championships, and it is Trebone. Now dangling is Summerhill. Summerhill's going to need that road speed to get back into this and further back. And I believe we can see Johnson tailed off there just a bit. I may not have that ID right.
Johnson out of contention at this point. Richard, we are making our way into these final few corners here before the finish line. That ever so crucial off-camber section. We saw Meredith Miller mess it up in the women's race. Powers going to lead around here. The first rider onto the pavement usually takes it here in Louisville.
And now we can see they will emerge. They're coming up now onto the top deck. Powers just pushing out huge watts, getting on early. He's got about 3 bike lengths. Now we're going to see Summerhill coming out of the Wheel of Burden. Into this beautiful autumn sun they go, driving down. All of them just fully gassed. Everything they've got. They've been pushing for now about a minute straight solid. Boom! It is Powers with a redemptive win.
Jeremy Powers with a huge grin on his face. He is back on the top step. Looks like Ben Bearden going to take second, and Danny Summerhill, a strong ride for the young rider. Kay Edgefeld going to round out the day in third. Adam Craig, top 5 ride today. Big improvement from yesterday, man. How was it out there?
It was sweet. I've been pretty exhausted for the last month since Trans-Provence, and after yesterday's junk show, I was a little concerned about the worthwhileness of racing cross, but it's a fun sport. It's hard, and it's good to be sort of back in the mix and up in that lead group where you need to be.
Danny Summerhill, third place today. Yesterday had a little crash, third place today. Tell me about how it felt today.
I was hurting real bad. That was an epic day of racing because the hits just never stopped, and Jeremy, Tim, Ryan, Ben, they all put in big digs. Today was just full gas from the start to the finish, and it was nice to get some redemption on yesterday. It was obviously a bummer to crash yesterday and lose any potential of a podium, but nice to at least leave the weekend with one. So, I mean, it's bronze, but at least it's a podium.
Jeremy Powers, I thought you were checked out for a little bit there. You come back on the top step, man. How's it feel?
Yeah, today was good. It was fast, really, really fast. And, for the first half an hour, guys were just going ballistic. Everybody was blowing off shots, and I felt like I could just sit back and watch a little bit of that happen. Obviously, when guys got tired, it opened up some big gaps, but the front group had gone so deep that I knew pretty good chance that things were going to come back together. I played that card today. I didn't burn matches early. They did. And then I was able to burn matches late, and you saw how it played out.
Everybody likes to win, but it's got to be that much more fun when you're doing it in this style where it's group racing, you're sprinting for the win, you know that Ryan's good, you know that Ben and Tim are good, and you have to work that much harder. Does it make you feel better to win a race this way than when you just ride off the front like you had earlier in the year?
I mean, this is such a fast track, literally the fastest course we've done all year, and it's just not something that I didn't feel super comfortable. Ryan truthfully had a great ride today. He was really good technically today, and I was just trying to hold on through the technical sections. And then when I opened up and kind of bridged across, I knew that I had the power today to do it. And yeah, it was great to win. I'm really happy to pull it off. And yeah, it's such a historic course. What else can I say?
All right, everybody, that is a wrap from the Mud-Fund-Derby-City-Cup. I gotta zip up. It's getting cold.
It's cold.
It is fall. It is cyclocross, and that was one heck of a weekend. Kelly, the women's race, that was sick.
It sure was. Katie Compton. Doubles up.
Unstoppable. Doubles up after last weekend. I mean, no Katarina Nash here, but she looked very, very strong. Elle Anderson today on Sunday came back, looked good. Meredith Miller looked good. Crystal Anthony, you were calling her ahead of the weekend. She really came through.
Killer. Just killer.
Awesome stuff. On the men's side of things, guys, again, it really is, we can talk about crowd size. We can talk about how good the course was. Forget all that stuff. Who was here and how was the racing action? In the men's race this weekend, both days, it just doesn't get any better than that. Sprint finishes on the line. Trebone takes it. We saw just Powers takes it today. A whole pack of guys. Who impressed you the most?
I have to say Danny Summerhill. If he hadn't had that crash yesterday.
Summerhill, Logan Owen, Zach McDonald, the young guys, the old guys. And then Tim Johnson. I'm just kidding, Tim. We love you. Great weekend. But, guys, this was good stuff. Go ahead, check out all the other shows we got for you yesterday on Tuesday, because you should be watching this on Wednesday. We got Who's Number One, Behind the Barriers, How the Race Was Won. Thank you for joining us. For Kelly, I'm your host, Colt. See you guys next week.